and they start throwing the bombs on us and start killing people in the groups because you don't know, you can hear it. And I was hearing the bomb that was coming. You can hear it like shh, shh, that sound. And I threw my 4-year-old son down and the like big hole and between the little hill, and I jumped on him to cover him because I know if bombs explode, they will hurt us or kill us or whatever. So when I stood up, my son was 4 years old. He, give a sign to breathing.
Wow.
So it's emotional.
Yeah, I know it's tough. It's tough, yeah. All right, so today we have a very special guest. She's a former refugee from Bosnia. She fled Bosnia because of the war in 1992 and escaped to Croatia. And at the time she fled Bosnia, she had a 4-year-old son. She had her second child in Croatia in 1995. And in 1999, she realized she wanted a better life for her children. So she took advantage and she came to the US in 1999 as a refugee. She now owns her own caregiving agency. She's an entrepreneur. Welcome to the podcast, Armina Grabic.
Thank
Welcome.
you.
Thank you for being here.
Well, I'm very excited to have you here today because a good friend of mine talked very highly of you and said that your story needed to be heard. So, and then you also recommended a movie to me, and I watched that movie for a little bit. And needless to say, it's a very powerful, very intense movie, and you actually lived with that movie, right? So I always like to start the podcast with, getting to know you. So let's just go back to the beginning, right? So obviously you were born in Bosnia.
Yes, I was born in Bosnia in a small town called Kozarac.
In Kozarac. And how many people were in that small town?
Before the war, it was like 4,000.
So a small town of 4,000 people. What was the biggest city next to your small town?
It was Prijedor.
Prijedor? Okay.
Yeah.
And what was it like growing up in a small town in Bosnia?
It was like big country girl,
Yeah.
living country. It was nice. It was freedom. Before all these things happened.
Yeah.
I was growing up on the ranch and, maybe make our own vegetable. And I was oldest the child.
Oh, wow.
And have 2 brothers after me. And like I say, it was just country raised.
So you're the oldest of 3 and you had 2 younger brothers.
Yes.
What was it like having 2 younger brothers?
Oh boy, it was hard because in my country, the who's oldest the child, it's always lead.
Okay.
And me being a girl, I was always have to work hard,
Mm-hmm.
and my brothers was like kings.
Yeah, kings, spoiled kings, right?
Right.
Yeah. So did you like the responsibility? Did you kind of take it on?
Yes, I do, because my father worked in Croatia. My mother was home wife.
Homemaker, yeah.
And then my grandma never worked. So my mother was ill when she was young age. So I basically, in my age 9, 10, I have to take my household
Wow.
and my shoulders and my school and hold the family. Basically, as a little child, I was working and providing like maybe 15, 16 or more older
Wow.
person, because it was responsibility. My grandma was handicapped.
Okay.
She was not able to take care of us. And like I said, my mother was ill. She will go to the hospital in Croatia, which my dad worked in Croatia,
Okay.
and stay there for a couple of months.
Wow.
And we will be like me and 2 brothers and handicapped grandma and the ranch.
Wow.
And so we have animals to feed. We grow the vegetables, corn, fields, everything.
What kind of animals did you have?
We have horses, sheep, chickens, cows.
So at 9, 10 years old, you were thrust into raising your 2 younger brothers and taking care of your grandmother and taking care of the farm.
Correct.
You know, it's cool because I think that's where your entrepreneurial spirit comes from, because since young, you were taught, I need to take care of myself. That's exciting. So, what was your favorite part about maybe growing up in the country? Was there something you really, really enjoyed?
It was actually I don't enjoy my childhood that much.
You didn't really get
I
that
worked hard,
Yeah.
but it was good to be you know, like I say, the performing for everything. I know I have to learn how to cook. I know I have to go to school. I have to I cannot miss the school and stay home. But it was the most because I was caring for my grandma,
Okay.
and I know I have to care for my brothers, and I knew my mom was happy and proud of me that I can be household. Actually, I have to say I was a child, but my grandma was there to instruct me, and I do what she say to do. Go cook, go do this, go do that. So that's another thing. I was not adult, I was child.
So you had a mentor, basically,
Exactly.
on how to be an adult.
Right.
And it's crazy because you were basically a caregiver since then.
Exactly.
Because you're already, yeah.
I was caring for very young age, yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know if that's why you chose the career as caregiving, but if you think about it, I don't know if you realize it or not, you've been a caregiver since you were at a very young age. And that kind of led you, now that's the same role that you're taking, except you're doing it as your own business, which is pretty cool. I think caregivers or any type of medical field you have to truly care about people, like, because it's a very tough, very hard working industry, and in order to go through that, you have to care about people. So, would you say that you really care about helping people?
Yes, I heard every day in my job and since I started doing 22 years almost ago, I heard I'm the only one that God sends one. So the thing is that people realizing me, that I don't even realize myself.
Yeah.
And his industry that I'm doing, because I just think this is what has to be done.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I guess I do naturally because I've been, like you say, maybe grew up like that. But in this kind of profession, you really have to be caring for it if you want to do that job. In my case, it's like I'm there and I need to do it.
Yeah.
So.
Is it pretty easy for you now that you've had so much experience taking care of people since you were very young?
When I was very young, it was hard. Like I said, beginning, it was hard because I don't have a childhood. I don't have nothing. And I was ending up taking care of my grandma when I was a young child because she was handicapped already. And it was hard. But then during the years, I ended up taking care of my ex-husband family and his grandpa. And through the years, it was a lot of taking care of it.
Okay. So you said that a lot of the people say you're a godsend?
That's what it says.
That's awesome.
You're an angel.
Yeah.
What kind of work were you doing before caregiving?
I was working back home. I was homestay mom. I have first child. I didn't work that time. Then I came in Croatia, and doing the war, I was picked one of the, I don't know how many people in Croatia, to work for French embassy in Croatia, and I was refugee in Croatia. So I worked for French embassy. I was like doing the job secretary / I don't know how to explain, doing everything what everybody needs.
Administrative work.
Like that. And when the guest comes and open the door and welcome them and offer them
hospitality. Yeah.
That's what was my job. And also doing some secretary work, doing the paperwork. That time when I was in Croatia, we don't have internet. We don't have mail that you send email.
Yeah.
You go deliver the mail to from one embassy to from French embassy to American embassy to French embassy. You have to walk to deliver those things.
Wow. So here they call it snail mail, but you guys actually had to walk and hand deliver them.
And hand deliver the papers or whatever in there. So whatever job that has to be taken care of. So like I say, it was different era,
Definitely a different time.
25 years ago.
So now you were not really allowed to have a childhood. You're taking care of your younger brothers and your grandmother, and this is pre-war, right? So how old were you like when the war broke out?
I was married young age and then have a child, and then the war broke up when I was 21.
Okay.
/ maybe 22, 21, 22. And like I say, we was living in the town. So I was country girl. My ex-husband was city, close to the city. So when I married to him, we was there, moved to that part.
Okay.
I lived with him and his family. And when the war broke, my mother and my family was not touched. But up on the side of the road, which Kozarets goes, the freeway, the divide the Kozarets, and down the below freeway, it was untouched because on the top on the freeway, they started burning the houses and they start killing the people and the army moving in, and we have to escape up on the mountains, which is calling Kozara.
Okay.
It's Kozara. And we was in the mountains when we was reaching, walking, running, whatever, turn around, the whole part of the town was in the flame.
Wow.
They already burned. Whoever's in the house was burned. Whoever was escaped, they was escaped. Whoever was there on the road, it got killed.
So it just happened that fast?
That fast.
Wow. So you were fleeing to the mountains and you could see the city on fire.
But yeah, pretty much. We, like I said, when you run, watch. You just turn around and everything flame after flame after flame. When we was up on the mountains, all top on the high, the whole thing was burned, and women, everybody, the whole town escaped.
Okay.
Up on the mountains. Like animals run, not get burned. So we went up there. The animals follow us in the mountains. We was there for a couple of nights, and the army, one ethnic cleanser, wanted us to be guilty and came down to the town to say they will not do anything to us, but we was not sure what that mean. So after we get hungry, exhausting, sleeping under the sky on the empty field or something, we was just like, let's go, either kill us or let us live, whatever. I don't know what we're guilty for. So we start going down from the mountains, and because they say they will throw the bombs in the mountains if we not play guilty and come down. So we don't have a choice, and we will start rolling little bit by little. And we was rolling in the group because we just like trying to give support mentally, emotionally to each other. And they saw us that we coming down, and they start throwing the bombs on us and start killing people in the groups because you don't know, you can hear it. And I was hearing the bomb that was coming. You can hear it like that sound. And I threw my 4-year-old son down in the like big hole and between the little hill, and I jump on him to cover him because I know if bombs explode, they will hurt us or kill us or whatever. So when I stood up, my son was 4 years old. He, give a sign to breathing.
Wow.
So it's emotional.
Yeah, I know it's tough. It's tough. Yeah. So you could literally hear the bomb hissing down, and you threw your son into the hole to protect him, and you covered him with your own body.
Right.
Wow.
So when I stood up, in the moment, I realized there was the trees was cut,
Wow.
and the bomb was explode. The top of the bomb was next to my head.
Next to you.
And I get up, and behind me, it was a lot of people who was already hurt or dead, or no have a hand or no have a legs. I cannot even capture that scenes because I know I have a very little seconds to go back to the hill. There's the house, and to get the water to see what's going on.
Yeah.
So when I was running, I left the group. The sniper was on the top, on the high on the building in the city, and I think the capture movement. So they start shooting the bullets, and
They were shooting at you.
I think so, because every time I move, the bullet hit the rock, or you can hear the noise. So I made it to the house and popped the water from the well and start splashing my son, and he got air.
Wow. So you basically you saved his life, but he wasn't breathing. So you grabbed him and you started running back to the home because you didn't know what was going on, and you could hear bullets hitting the rocks next to you.
Yeah.
And then you, by some miracle, you made it to there and you revived your son.
Right.
Wow. So that's a powerful story. So, and this is real life, people. Like, I mean, she's not making this up. This is what she lived through. So now you and your son are in the home. What happened next?
So the whole group left. There's some people that left there, and I stay. I found some of my relatives there, so related to my ex, and so I stay there with them. And for next night, because you don't know what's happening.
Yeah.
So I just hide it and see what's going on. So I was not able to go forward because the group that I was following, it's already gone.
So they were blown up.
So we are split up. So
Okay.
one group left on the down and say we are guilty, but the one group we stay and we just like don't know what to do. So the next morning, this again play us to calm down, and we don't have a choice. We say, let's go. Where's the other people? Let's go to see what they want. So we came to the town. The whole town was destroyed. As a group came to the town, they take the men on the side and behind the building, and they shoot them.
You just shot them cold blooded.
And they called them by the name.
Wow. What by their names?
By the names. They have a little list of
all the men's names.
Yeah.
How many people in your group? Do you remember?
Maybe on the first group it was maybe 500, 600 people.
Wow.
There was a lot of people.
Mm.
And the second group, maybe 150, 100 people. It's hard to tell because when you start going down to that path, people start breathing from the mountains and coming out because they try to collect in the group.
They feel safer.
Yeah, they feel safer if it's like,
Bigger
20,
group.
30, 50 people or 100.
Right.
But if it's like 10 people there, feels, like not safe.
Mm-hmm.
You just feel safe in the group.
So you guys came down, and so just to help people understand what the war was about. I know I've read a couple things like ethnic cleansing. I read that it was 3 groups that were trying to claim power, and that didn't really work out. So then it ended up becoming a war. Do you know the real reason of why the war happened in Bosnia?
I think it's a religious. I think it was religious war because the leaders cannot get on the same path. Literally, I was not into the politics that time,
Right.
and
Yeah.
knowing really what's happening, because we have like I said, we have a president who was really peace and everything when I was child.
Right.
And then these 3 came, and I thought that was normal. All the way to maybe month before all this happened, they say, "Oh, it's nothing happening. Everything's fine." We saw a lot of stuff changing. The army comes, the machines comes, the bombs comes,
Wow.
but they say, "Oh, well, nothing happened." So for that, whatever was the management between those
leaders.
3 leaders, that's what's happened. I just only know they wanna clean up the, like you say, ethnic cleanser, the clean to kill whatever they can't, one religion. Most on this war was affection of Muslim people.
Yeah.
But also there's a lot of mixed marriages there.
Oh.
So it's a lot of like Catholic and Christian mixed. How you going to split up the kids?
Right.
Then it's also some Muslim and Christian or Muslim and Catholic. There's the also marriages which is mix and religion. So that we was hit the hard because we don't know why this happening, because we are mixed. We cannot be split up. We cannot split up the children. And also I have to back a little bit. When I was growing up, I was friend and social with everybody. I don't care which religion was. I don't care what you believe. If you're a good person and you're a human being, we was always celebrating together and being together. So
I agree with that. That's what I believe. And this is not a religious podcast, but you can hear a lot of my views on religion in previous podcasts. But I believe in the name of religion, more people have died in the history of this world than anything else. And I did a little bit of research, and they said there was 44% Muslim Bosnians, 32% Orthodox Serbs, and 17% Catholic Croats. So that was kind of like the mix in Bosnia at the time. But you're saying, and the movie kind of showed, they were going after the Muslims mainly to kind of clean up the Bosnian Muslims. Is that true?
The movie of Angelina Jolie that I was mentioning is mostly end up in Srebrenica, which is the clean up all the, that's all Muslim people. And our town, it's also Muslim people, but it's started before the Srebrenica started. So they started in Croatia.
Mm-hmm.
And went after the Croatian Catholics, and this is Orthodox.
Wow.
This is the Christian.
Orthodox Christians, basically, yeah.
And they started in Croatia and came after Catholics. So Croatia was much more stronger to stop them, and they killed one part. So my town is closer to Croatia, and the start beginning and those towns and end up, and particularly I don't know the reason why the Khazars, which was my city, end up pulling the wars. What was the leader, the map? It could be the create the maps before what's going to be done. I can't say that, but for example, the Prijedor, it's a bigger city. The touch after the Khazars, all was destroyed.
So your city was targeted specifically?
I can't say that, but we have more people that was dead. And for example, if you go from one street up to the city, they killed almost every man.
Wow.
And from age 14, 15 to age 65.
So they were targeting the man?
Mostly
men?
Yeah. So the men, anybody who was above 14 was killed, basically?
Mostly killed, but taking to the men's convention camps or prisons and tortured
Wow.
and captured and there and killed, and that's basically separate husband, father, brother.
So many families were completely
Destroyed.
fractured, destroyed, separated. And you mentioned something. How many years of peace was there before the war actually started? Because you said you had a president who passed away, but he was all about peace.
I think it was 1982 that the President Tito
So maybe about a decade of peace.
decade.
Yeah. And then so now you're coming down with another. You came down after that night you spent, and you went back up there. You came back down the next day.
Yes, we came on the little town and they capture us. And like I said, the calling the names and take it. We was there when they killed them.
So you actually heard the gunshots.
Of course.
Wow.
And then we was sitting. They're like, how I say, they wanna protect us, like not to escape or not to leave. They wanna capture us, and so they move us on the one of the area where the army was around, and we was surrounded.
You were surrounded. Yes.
They round you guys up, basically.
Yeah.
So it's crazy because if you watch the movie, there's a scene in the movie where they show all the women, and then you could hear the gunshots, and basically all the men were being completely massacred. So you actually lived the scene in the movie.
Right.
Wow. So
Can you remind us the title of that movie?
I don't want to mess it up, but I believe it's The Land of Golden Honey. But we'll get the exact title and we'll leave it in the description. But I believe it's called The Land of Golden Honey, and it was directed by Angelina Jolie. So you actually lived the scene and you watched the movie, correct?
I started watching the movie, but
you probably
I was not able. But I heard people that watching that was really, really emotional.
Yeah.
I live to my country. Like I say, that movie was created in Srebrenica, which she was hear the story of somebody in Srebrenica, or she created the movie and she was there, and but we was different part of the Bosnia. But whatever happened in Srebrenica, the worst happened in Srebrenica, but happens into us. But like I said before, we was first in Srebrenica.
Yeah. I don't think there's any. It's still horrible in both areas.
Exactly.
Yeah. So when you were captured, what happened next?
Then they start dividing, like I say, means and they make us walk, and I was walking. There's dead bodies left and right.
Everywhere.
And we was exhausted. So then they decide to put us in the bus and transporting us to one of the schools, which was elementary school or middle school, I can call, as the building. And they put us there, and mothers, children, old people, handicapped. We was all like on the top on each other there.
Just piled
it, and just they have a army watching us like a prisoners. We cannot move, we cannot go nowhere, whatever we have there. So we was there, and no food, nothing. Basically people survive whatever they can get. So I was telling my part of the country where I grew up country, there was people still at home. So those people will bring some food and sneak in till we survive with the kids.
Wow.
And then divided, the next to our place was also men's little prison. They captured them and kept them there. So every night was survival.
Yeah. So you basically had people that were still in the towns coming in and sneaking in and risking their lives to bring you guys food to be able to survive.
Of course.
And they segregated the women and children from the men in two different places.
Right.
So how long did you spend in that camp?
I spent there a week, and there's the Legas Go and the houses, which is empty around convention camp, to like take a shower or get some clothes. And I hold my family and everybody in the house, and we was like 30 people in one house sleeping there. And it was better to sleep in that house. It was also part of you cannot go nowhere. It's part like being in prison.
Yeah.
But actually, you're not sleeping on the top of each other and sleeping on the cement or tiles.
Yeah.
You're sleeping in the carpet,
Yeah.
or maybe bed if you have.
Yeah.
So we was there for another week or so, and then we was back in convention camp. We was back to the behind the wires again.
So they let you off for a week?
Yeah, the leg is off because it gets crowded.
Oh.
And they don't have a space. So they offer us, they know how I can explain. It's not the leg is out. We just ask, can we go to that house instead being here and just hold, we are there. We're not going escape, but just leg us to split up because it was so much that you can't. Pandemic starts. We don't have bathrooms.
Yeah.
We don't have blankets. We don't have clothes. We don't have nothing.
The conditions were basically becoming
It gets worse. Exactly.
Yeah. So that was good. At least they let you out for a little while, or at least let you go to a much better living area. And then they brought you back in.
Then they brought me back in because the men's start. I guess they was thinking somebody informed somebody will come and break and we will escape or something. They want to control us.
Okay.
That's the thing.
They just wanted to prevent escape, people from escaping. Yeah.
And then we was back, and that's where the register is. That's where I have register paper that I was there. And then my father-in-law came from the men's convention camp or prison. And it's called Caregiving and Entreprenuer. And he decided we should move to the bigger city because now we registered and they say we cannot hold you anymore. You can go. So we went to that Prijedor city. We was there tortured more.
Wow.
In the Prijedor, we was from Kozarac. So they don't like us there. So we have to basically again come back. And I don't know how to explain, but it was 3 months of torturing.
Yeah.
And then we heard there will be transportation buses from convention camp. Whoever left was in convention camp. They have to let us go. And they want to take us to the Muslim territory, which is in Travnik, and then it's in the middle of the Bosnia. So we signed for that to just go, because they say now it's up to you. So you stay to be tortured or you go.
Okay.
So we just decide to go, and my father-in-law and my mother-in-law and me and my 4-year-old son, we decide to get to the bus and leave.
Wow.
And we went to they drop us off up on the mountains, and we walk all night.
Wow.
From the mountains in the middle of the Bosnia down to the Travnik. We get there was no space. There was so many refugees, no space. So we went to Zenica. We stayed there in a big school playground, and which was 500 people at least.
Wow.
And it starts like all refugee from all over the Bosnia. The war explode everywhere. So I was there, and then I just somehow escaped to the Croatia, and that's where I start different life.
Did you have any friends during that time in the camp, and what kind of support were you guys giving each other?
Basically, we all have each other because the whole town, that small town, we know all each other. That's my friends from school. That's my neighbors. That's my cousins. That's my relatives. So we all have support. But what's happened, they scatter us. Sometimes you found somebody, but then you lost. But then you found somebody else, then you lost. Because everybody was fearing for life, for better life, or for safety. That's it was like emotionally supported, not really mentally, because we don't know what's going to happen. But it was everybody that we know, we go through same thing.
So basically, all the people you grew up with, all the people everybody was there.
Everybody was there.
Everybody was going through there. How many people were missing from your town when you guys all got together? Did you know that? Was it a noticeable amount of people missing, or was there most of your town was still there?
That time we don't know how many people was missing, but now 1,000 and 1,000 people it's dead. I can't understand how much exactly amount, because I just not, in my point of view, I see we have a big stones in our town, which we created, and the names of the people killed.
Okay.
And when you read them, you can spend hours reading who was killed. So the exactly amount, I have to check.
Yeah.
Because like I say, I never was interesting to say how many people, but I know it's a lot of people that I know that go to school with me, my neighbors, the cousins too, relatives.
That's crazy. So how did you end up escaping to Croatia?
There was the buses that transferring people from Bosnia to Croatia, and you have to have a specific papers, and I got that paper, and somehow
We'll leave it at that. Yeah.
And the thing is, I was just was able to go and escape.
So was it just you and your son, or was it you and your son and your in-laws that were able to escape?
Me and my son that time, and my ex-husband, who was, he was the one live in Slovenia, and then he came and got the paper and pick us up and take us out.
So he was able to get the papers to get you guys out of the country.
Yeah.
Well, I'm so glad that you were able to get out. I mean, this is a crazy story. And thank you for sharing that, because I know it's not easy to relive it. Just like you said, I mean, I didn't live through that, and I watched the movie, and I almost didn't want to continue watching the movie. That's how powerful the movie was. But so now you're in Croatia, right? You and your family are reunited, which is probably one of the very fortunate ones. And now you're in Croatia. What happens next when you guys get to Croatia?
I was a refugee in Croatia, and I ended up sleeping on the train station.
Oh, wow.
Because I don't have family, I don't have no place to go. I slept on the train station to somehow we figure out, me and my ex, what to do next. So
how long did you guys stay in the train station for?
People help. Now maybe I say 5 days,
Okay.
5 days.
It probably seemed like an eternity, though, right?
Yeah, and because they don't wanted you there was also camps around too. You can stay in Croatia. It was a refugee from Bosnia. And my husband that time, he knows people, so he get connected, and was able to get a place and stay there. And we was there for like maybe 6 months and moved to the apartment, and that's where we start. The help, we was getting some help. Like I say, I still don't know how, because my ex-husband was the one.
Yeah.
He got somehow figure out. So then, like I say, I was refugee. They give us little food. They give us little clothes. For donation. You go stand in the line.
Yeah.
And you get some to survive.
Yeah.
And then there was some organization give you like money if you need help a little bit. There was donation organization, which they heard so many refugees in Croatia and needs help, so they came and give us some for help if you need for rent, because when live in convention camp, they distribute you around, but you have to pay some.
Yeah.
You cannot live for free.
Right.
So either you go to find the work, which I did. So
were you able to like meet up and reunite with some of the people that you knew from Bosnia when you went to Croatia?
Different part, but not so many from my town. Very few that stay on one part of Croatia, but I was living on the other part, so not so much communication, because like I say, no transportation. If you take transportation, you have to pay for it, but if you don't have money, you're not going to walk.
Right.
So you just basically where you are, you stay where you are.
So Croatia was a lot bigger than where you were in Bosnia, or was it the same?
I was in the main city in Zagreb, which is a big city. Big city.
So you went from the country town to the city in Bosnia, and then now you're in the biggest city in Croatia.
Right.
So did they already stop fighting? So the war stopped in Croatia by that time because they were strong enough to hold them off, or?
I think it was ending almost. It was on the part of Croatia calling Vukovar, which it was going on before my town start.
Yeah.
And I think it was almost maintain the Croatian people by accomplished and the stop.
Yes.
Or let's go say slow down.
Yes.
It was not like on the flame and stuff. Because the army moved to the middle of the Bosnia, like Sarajevo, Srebrenica. Yeah. That's what you're talking about, movie.
So basically it started in Croatia, but they were able to hold them off or maintain it, and then it went into Bosnia, but then that's when you guys came into Croatia after they were able to maintain it.
Right.
So now you guys are there, you found a place to stay, you got a job. What happens next after that?
Next thing what happen, you pick up your life, pieces of your life, what kind of life you have. I have to tell you that in Croatia, also you're refugee.
Okay.
So it's very hard to pick nobody hiring. You don't have documents. You just register there. And you don't know the wars in your country, and you register. So the war stop wherever and happen, you have to go back. That's the rules. That's why Croatia helped Bosnia to take a refugee, just for helping them to be there and to save them.
Yes.
So regarding my life, what I did, I read the newspaper and say American Embassy was hiring, and I went on interview, which was, I was refugee Bosnian, and it was Croatian girls. So I say I don't have a chance.
Right.
And language barrier and stuff. But we all who was an interview doesn't speak any French or English or anything. So they end up choosing me to work there, because I think they feel sorry I was refugee, and I told them my life. I have one child, and I was pregnant with the second, and and then to say, when they called me that I was hired, I was just on the top on the world.
That's awesome.
Because I was the only one Bosnian working there.
That's awesome. So now you're working in you said the American embassy?
No, French.
The French embassy. Okay, so I'm sorry about that. So you're working in the French embassy. You got hired, the only Bosnian girl in there, and it's crazy to think, like, you're right, like you were a refugee, like there's no history of you, there's no record. It's a new country, new language, like new everything basically.
Right.
And you're now coming from probably one of the worst experiences that anybody can go through. But now there's a light, there's a ray of hope. Like now the clouds are starting to go away, and now the sun's coming in. And so how long did you work at the French embassy for?
I was, like I say, I was find out I was pregnant with my aunt, and I have my second child.
Wow.
And I took.
How old were you then?
I was 24.
So 24, right? Okay. Just got pregnant with your second child. Just got a great opportunity. And so how long did you work there?
I worked there to the day I flew in America.
So a couple years. And how did that process happen? How did you get the opportunity to come to the United States?
I was having my second child, and then I stay home mom for the payment to mature leave, and I go back and work to Friday and flew on Monday to United States.
You just got a ticket and flew. And
just because how end up when I have a second child, I work for with the French people, and there was the one that inspired me about different life, and I was like looking back. When my refugee ends, I have to go back home.
Okay.
I have to go. I don't have a home.
Yeah.
I don't have a Bosnia doesn't know where to pick the pieces.
Yeah.
So I say, I saved that paper that I told you that I was registered in convention camp. So I say to somebody in American embassy, I still have this paper, and if America still accept the refugee, and he was like, oh yeah, the interview. And, you find out, you go, you ask. Then I find out there was officers from America coming and interviewing refugee, still open the door to whoever welcome. But you have to really have the story. You have to really tell the truth. If you've been in the war, or you've been in the convention camp, or what exactly, because they know everything.
Yes.
They know exactly every part of the town, every part of the city, what's exactly happened and when.
Oh, wow.
So I have to memorize my 1992.
You had to relive it all over again.
Yeah, and show them the paper, and they give me application. I apply. They say you will come to interview. So I was with the officer, American officer, interview for, let's go say, for an hour, and they go everything. So I have, like I say, wrote the notes and revive my whole thing. And on the end of my interview, she said, "Congratulations, you made it. You welcome to United States."
Awesome.
That was it. So it was a lot of families that time that was there not make it. So only that time 6 family made it.
Wow.
The pass.
That is amazing.
Like I say, if they capture you, then you're not welcome.
Wow.
I wanna go back real quick when you felt like you were on top of the world. During that time, did you have like any goals that you wrote down what you're gonna do next, or you were just like basically hoping like for an next opportunity to jump into?
Not really that I have any goal. In my mind was just, I just wanna, even it was too far, United States. When I told my mom, I remember I told her that I'm applying, and she broke and cried, and she said, "Did you know this is the other side of the world?" And I say, "I know, but there's no other option for me to stay here. Is the okay, but I want a future for my 2 children, and I want a better future for them, even it's across the ocean."
Yeah.
But that time it was the term for me,
I just want to go.
You just want to
I
leave
just
Croatia.
I just want to leave, and I just want to, because I know I don't have other choice. Either leave Croatia and go to United States, or go back and
To Bosnia.
feel the mercy, whatever happened.
And so that was that around the time. So the war was pretty much already over in Bosnia at this time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
People was going back to their lands.
Just pretty much land, right?
Start picking up from the pieces.
Yeah.
There's no house. There's nothing there. Start rebuilding the life. So yeah.
Wow. So you had the two choices: either go back to who knows what's left in Bosnia,
Correct.
or apply for the opportunity to come to the United States. And you were chosen out of probably hundreds or thousands of families. They only chose 6.
Yes.
Wow. So can you describe that feeling when the lady told you, congratulations, you made it, welcome to the United States?
And to today, I don't know how that happened, because it was just like, and I was, like I say, emotionally on the top, on everything, on top, on the world, United States. I'm going to United States. But my husband, that time, he was not happy.
Oh, okay.
He don't wanna, because he leaving his family and he wanna stay. And I was like, I'm leaving my family, but we're going for the kids. He was 50-50. And he was going to that interview, but he was not 100% sure that I will be passed.
Yeah.
Because he said, let her go, but maybe she don't make it.
Yeah. So he wasn't sure.
So that time, we have a lot of process to do. It's not like you just get welcome. You get welcome, but you have to sign the paper. They pay for airfare. They pay. You own the money already. They do the social security, working visa. I was already having documents in here waiting for me before I even land in here.
Wow. So everything was already set up.
Everything was set up.
And you didn't even have your documents from back home or anything yet, but you had everything set up here.
I was having just my ID doing that I was happened to carry with me during the war and nothing else.
So it seems like the universe or God, I mean, whatever your belief is, there's it was a plan for you. Like you were meant to come to the United States. And so what part of the U.S. did you guys come to first when you came from as a refugee? When you escaped and came here?
Back in the moment when I pass, I have to do the process of the physical and mental test. If you pass that, then you can, come. Yeah. So back in there, to do that, it took us 6 months to come here. When I came here, I was working. I don't have a time. I went to American Embassy, asked one time where I'm going, and they say, we don't have a destination. And I say, but my flight, I got the tickets, and I'm flying on Monday. Today is like Thursday. And they say, we will call you tomorrow. Friday, they called me and say, you're going to San Francisco. I say, where's San Francisco?
Oh, wow.
And they say, oh, you're going to California. And I say, okay. I heard about this San Francisco, the bridges and everything. But the thing is, I was disorientated on the whole thing. Where is, which part of the United States?
Yeah.
So the destinations say it's San Francisco, California. And you fly, I was already preparing and flying here. When I came, somebody was waiting for us because we was refugee. And we came middle of the night, and the woman was waiting there. I remember it was raining, and I'm like, I'm flying around the ocean. We cannot land it. And I'm thinking in my mind, this is the end of the world. I'm dying here. So we landed, and she brought us to the hotel. We have to, in the morning, go sign the papers, like I say, for the social security, visa, everything, because we have a bag, we just say refugee, and we pass the whole countries, Germany, enter in United States with that bag.
Wow.
So carry alone with us.
Wow.
And it was 4 pieces of paper with our pictures. That's all.
That's it. And it was your whole family. It was your husband, you, and both. And
My 2 kids,
Well, your
2 sons.
your other one was already born too.
Oh yeah, he was almost 4 years old.
Okay. Wow. And then, you know, it's kind of cool because you came to San Francisco, you came to California, and that was it was 99, you said?
February of 1999.
So it was probably when the United States was at its most prosperous moment in the last 30 years, you know, because it was nearing the end of the Clinton administration.
Correct.
We had a surplus of money. There was unity. There was peace. Like, you actually came to the U.S. at like probably the best time in my lifetime, at least, of this country. So now you guys get here, you know, what's the next steps? Like, how easy was it to get the life started here? Was it easy? Was it hard? No.
First of all, speak English.
Wow.
It's like a language, and you dropped from like I say, from sky to the ground, and the destination was San Francisco. We left in hotel. And I know first morning I get up and I went outside and I looked at Market Street in San Francisco, and I looked those buildings and I have like, oh, I'm not staying here, and I don't know where I'm going, but I'm not staying. This is not for me. I'm lost in this big city.
Oh yeah, because you're a country girl.
And also from small city. Even the Zagreb was bigger city, but it's not huge like San Francisco.
Yeah, San Francisco is one of
Millions
the
and
craziest
millions,
cities.
yeah.
Yeah.
And they came pick us up and went to that refugee international organization, and they signed the papers and everything. And first thing I say, I'm not staying here. We have a translator from Bosnian to English. And the woman that was operating, she knows how to speak English. She speak Bosnian because she was for the years maintaining the refugees from Bosnia, because they start coming 1993, I think, first Bosnian enter here, and all the way to 1999. I think we was the last maybe that came refugee, if it's anybody after.
Wow.
Does your son ever you don't have to answer this, but does your son ever bring it up to you, like the experiences and what you guys went through?
Not really. I don't think on the little when he was 7, he captured a little bit, but by age, his life-changing school in Croatia and everything, I don't think he remembers so much. If we talked about, he say, Mom, I remember some, but not really moments. Like that he can tell story, because 4 years old, it's more like playing and words happening. I remember one time the bullet was shooting and the shells we was walking around the shells, and he was playing with the shells, picking the shells, and
think it's a toy. He doesn't know.
He's thinking it's a toy. He doesn't know. So I think on the back on his mind he knows something happened, but then I don't think he remembers.
Yeah, it's probably for his own good. So
that's for sure.
Has he seen the movie?
I don't think so. I cannot say for 100% because he's 32 years old now and have his 2 kids. But maybe I know heard that he say it. I keep saying it's movie there, but I don't think we want to
You don't want
the
visit.
memory.
You don't want to relive it.
We just want to go in the future. You don't want to go in the past.
And that's an amazing way to think about it, because what good is going and reliving that? Like, I mean, the past is there to teach you a lesson, or maybe to learn from it, but that's about it, So you live in the now and the future. You don't want to go back to the past, which is amazing, right?
Right.
So you're an entrepreneur. Obviously, you own a caregiving agency. So talk a little bit about like your first couple jobs and where you ended up settling and how'd you end up there, and then lead us into how you became an entrepreneur.
So when we came, and like I say, in San Francisco, we went to our organization, signed the paper, and the first thing I was asking, where is the smaller city you can take me?
You're like, where's the smallest city?
And there was big, huge, tall building, and the manager there say, look, that's Oakland over the bridge.
Oh,
and I
wow.
say, whatever, it is smaller. He say, it's a little smaller, but it's, I think you will be okay. I say, okay, sign me for Oakland. So I have to sign the papers that I want to move to the Oakland because it was specific. If you're coming to San Francisco, they already arrange everything about San
Okay.
Francisco. But then the Oakland was different county, different
Yeah.
city, and I have to move. So they came, pick us up, and bring us. Oh no, we stay in a hotel for a couple of more days to find this apartment, to switch whole thing,
Yeah.
and found us the apartment in East Oakland.
Wow.
And
The worst part of Oakland too. You're like, oh, can I go back to San Francisco?
no, I was not saying that, but I was coming in East Oakland. They say you're going to East Oakland. I thought, oh, fine, great.
Yeah.
When I came to the part, the first day, enter us in the building, rent us one bedroom apartment, helping us. And when we was back in Croatia, we watched the movie, we was welcoming. They tell us whole the story how our life will be picked up in America.
Yeah.
So we have a food, everything's waiting, furnished apartment, everything. So when I moved to Oakland, one bedroom apartment, I opened the door. It was completely empty. I don't even have any sofa, any mattress,
Wow.
any clothes, any food, any dishes, nothing. Empty
Just an
apartment.
empty apartment.
And I'm 2 bags in my hands, changing the clothes for my 2 kids and myself and my husband. And I was like, how are we going to do it? So we end up sleeping on the carpet for a days till we get used furniture that people donated. The organization go and pick up
Yeah.
and bring it to us, and use dishes.
Wow.
So, and give us some money to go buy the food. So that money was $400 a month
Wow.
for 4 of us.
Wow.
So, and that's how you picked. And they wanted us to go to school to learn the language. And they wanted us to go to work because the soonest we found the work, we will be faster paying back
Yeah.
the money that we own.
Oh,
Because we already have a loan,
Mm.
which international refugee borrow us for deposit of the apartment, they're supporting us 6 months to found the job. They give us money for the food and whatever.
So that's
like
a
I
loan.
say, limit was $400. So the ticket, airplane ticket, that was loan.
So it's all loan you guys had to pay back.
We have 5 years to pay back.
Oh my gosh. Was there
how long did it take you?
I spread up 5 years.
5 years?
is there interest on the loan?
I can capture that
Okay.
that time. I know it was amount, and there was amount that you can make $50 a month,
Okay.
but you have to make it, doesn't matter what, when you start working. Only when you start working,
Yeah.
to then they will follow you and help you.
Wow.
So what happens if you don't pay off that loan within 5 years?
I think you have to. You sign the paper. And I was not taking that opportunity. What will happen to me? Because I promised. When I promised something, I tried to accomplish, and I paid off. So because basically the charge, whatever they was doing for us I think it was donation money that people donated, and that this organization reuse it for the people to help. And then those people, when they step on their feet, they pay them back, and they can pull another family
give it to another
or
family.
another whatever around the world.
So it's like a
That's
big pool of money basically that helps
Yes.
refugees.
Yes. that
Thank you
helps.
for that organization.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so what was your first impressions of East Oakland?
It was different world for me.
Yeah.
But the beginning is to start it. How you going to start it? The kids need to go to school. We have to register it. They signed me for 2 weeks. I went to English school for 2 weeks.
Wow.
And they found me the job and they offered me the job. So I don't have so much time to look around what's around me.
Yeah.
I was busy to pick my steps and found the job and started paying off. First of all, my responsibility. Second of all, to live on the better, not on $400.
Yeah.
When I go to store and my kids say, I want a chocolate, and I buy one chocolate for two of them, I cannot buy each because we need the food on the table.
Yeah.
And I remember those days my kids go through, we are from different world. My kids came in American store and see all these chocolates, all this stuff and toys, and the picking and throwing in the shopping cart. Do I get to the register? I pull it back and put it back on.
There's no limits for kids, right? They
Of
want
course.
everything. Yeah.
Yeah, when
course.
I mentioned this in a podcast before. So as a kid in the Philippines, one of the things I was excited about going to America was chocolates.
Yeah.
Eating all the chocolates
Yeah.
in the world.
Yeah.
So
When I asked her what you thought the U.S. was going to be like, she said cold and full of chocolate.
like snow, like a lot of snow. But I
Yeah.
moved to California, so there's no
So,
snow here.
Yeah. That's my kids was chocolate.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, the war was, even in Croatia, we was not that, even I work, but not really wealthy too. You can buy something, but not everything.
Yeah.
Right. In a way, that's kind of a good thing, though. So they're not like eating chocolate every single day, right?
But not only that, in toys or shoes or something that they want to, you cannot afford it. So there's a lot of sacrifice in there.
It's very humbling, I would say.
Yeah.
So what was your first job?
So they offered me the job in the nursing home to serve the tables where the people eat, the elderly people in the dining room, like what's calling that, waitress or
Like serving, like a waitress or
like a waitress in the restaurant,
service,
but it's like
basically.
a not restaurant. It's a restaurant for elderly people
Yeah.
that live there.
Yeah.
So I start serving. I went to interview, and this is my story. 2 weeks in the English school, what you can know in interview when they ask you. So somebody went with me, and I just repeat yes, 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 yes. Came home, on my phone rings. I was hired.
Wow.
So
Nice.
I was like, how I'm going to do? This is kitchen, American food. I don't have a clue about American vegetables, the names, not even talking about food. And I've been in the food industry serving the food. But I say, okay, I can do it. I just grab the plate
Yeah. Just
and
have
ask the person, there's all the 80, 90 years old live there. I say, I can ask them, are you one a number one or number two?
There you
It's
go,
not
right?
no
Yeah.
big
Simple
deal.
questions.
Yeah.
Simple. And I start that work, and in 3 months I learned English. But the first month I start working, my supervisor, she realized whenever she say, I say yes, yes, yes. I don't even have a clue what she said.
You're just like yes to everything, right?
So, and she was like, she grabbed me for the hand. She said, Armina, are you speaking English? I say, little. And she said, how much is little? And I just like look at her and I said, I don't know, honestly, I don't speak so much. And she was like, taking me to the office, and I'm like, I'm getting fired or left.
Yeah.
And she was like telling the boss, she don't even speak English. We hire somebody who don't even know how to communicate. And he was like, give her time. We have a lot
Wow.
of people who start with little, but they're picking up and stuff.
So he was a good boss.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and he was also from the different country. He was Indian.
immigrant,
Makes sense.
yeah.
Yeah.
So he had a soft spot. in
So
his
he
heart.
has
Yeah.
a soft spot and feeling me that, I just came here 2.5 months ago,
Yeah.
and I start working. So I went to I served for 3 months, and I pick English. I pick what they are doing. So in 3 months, qualify me to cook number 2.
Wow. You
So
got your first
I
promotion
went
in 3
on
months.
promotion, and I was cook number 2 for a couple of months, and then the major cook that run the kitchen not show up, and supervisor just pulled me. Armina, you can do it. I said, I was not even trained. I don't know what to do. She said, you can do it. So I was end up running the kitchen and main cook in that nursing home, which is a lot of people we live there, and you have a skilled nursing, you have all kind of stuff. And I learned, she showed me, and I pick it up, and I'm thinking, this is not me. This is not me. I'm not going to stay here, work for minimum wage.
Of course.
And I can do better. Now I know English. Now I know where I am. Even I live in East Oakland in 1-bedroom apartment, but I know where I am now. So I start introducing myself to the peoples, and one of the lady that was working in the nursing home in the office, which I was in the kitchen, she ended up, her grandparents end up being from Croatia. So we start talking, and she was like, I have an older lady neighbors who need help, and she need little help. Like, did you like to help her on your days off? So for a couple of months on my days off, I will go to the Oakland Hills and help that lady in her own house.
The wealthy lady, right?
Yeah, and then that lady recognized my skills, and she was like, I need you to maybe work that kind of industry because you're very good.
Yeah.
And she opened me some kind of eyes. So I quit my job, give the notice to the kitchen, and start working for that lady, and then have another client and open my own self-employed business, and that's 21 years ago.
Wow, that is
amazing.
So awesome. And I want to go back to when you were thrown into the kitchen. You were prepared for this since you were 9 years old.
Yeah, but not American food, not American cooking.
It's probably easier.
It's different.
Yeah, it's very
we
different.
do a lot of baking. We do a lot of bread. We do a lot of. It's more close to Italian food, pasta, potato, and stuff. And here in American, it's totally different spices and it's the same food. It's a chicken, it's chicken.
Yeah.
It's potato, but it's a different.
It's a different way to prepare it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Did you start to kind of like American food after that, or was it just a short-term thing?
Oh, I eat, and food is food. I start like it. I don't like to be cook.
Oh, you don't like to cook? Yeah.
And no. And start be like hitting you. Like my life it changed. I was in Bosnia, and then from Bosnia to Croatia, and I was working with the people. I was more like social and a lot. And in Zagreb, Zagreb has a big event calling Zagrebački Velesajam, which all the people on the world from America, from French, from Italy, all come together and represent what they do. So I was mostly every year in there with other people. And so for me was like, I need come to that industry where I can be around the people or help people or do some kind of thing, and not be, like I say, mostly like not only about cooking. It was like I'm not working my life for. I start. It was $6.25 an hour, and end up even I was main cook. I make $10.50 an hour, not even $11, nothing.
Yeah.
My apartment that time was $600.
Okay.
A month.
And plus the food and everything. So my ex-husband, my husband at that time, he was not able to pick up the English and pick up stuff. So he was working for also minimum wage in some companies. And then he cannot get a loan. Then he quit and end up I'm working by myself.
Oh my gosh.
It was very hard. But when I start this business, I was spread to the people the well known from one of the parish, and I was having left and right in the houses, and I start doing the caregiving. And then from there, they went to the nursing homes. So when I end up in nursing home, the people, the directors and executive and health department nurses and stuff, they notice it and say, we have a cases, we have elderly that need extra help and stuff. So I start growing bigger and bigger and end up doing for my own independent contractor caregiving and having my own clients, and so that's where I start.
So I have a question, because a lot of immigrants will come here and they'll be happy with the minimum and they'll be happy with what they get. Maybe most of them are not happy, right? But it seems to me that you always wanted more. Like you could recognize that this is not who you were. You were meant for something bigger. Do you know where that comes from?
I think from my early age, being a little child and caring for everything and doing everything and be responsible for everything. And in my age 14, I was, it was happened big earthquake in my country, which a lot of houses has the damages. And I was a little girl. I cannot speak for the adults, but I encourage my grandma, who was not having any school, anything. She doesn't know how to read. She never go to school because she was born and her mother died on her birth.
Oh, wow.
And nobody sent her to school. So her house was very damaged. So I was age 13, 14 girl. I went to the big bank and get inspection and inspect my grandma's house, and she got money to repair, and she just only has to go with me to press her finger to just say I am this.
Yeah.
But I was basically starting whole process and age that young.
So you already learned about getting money, about how banks, like business basically.
Wow,
that's
and
exciting.
Starting, just being like, you can do this, you can do this, you can do this. It doesn't matter, nothing will stop you. You can do this. So I think it comes on my early age, and that's where I am. And also speaking about being refugee, when I was in the middle of the Bosnia, the other people sit there and waiting for the food to be served. I went to the kitchen where was what's calling the main kitchen for the delivering the food, and they have to distribute like people who live in that convention camp. And there I asked the operator and I said, can I do something? And he said, but we no pay. I say, but just okay if I can work for extra portion for my son to have food, because we get one portion and that's for whole day, and we are hungry, especially the little kids. And there was also my husband's side of the family who has a kid. And I say, if I can come and share to these little kids and feed them extra portion, I will work all day.
Yeah.
It's amazing. So
I went and asked him, and he was like, okay, I will hire you. Looks like you really determined me and encouraged me. And I went and served for all these people, and the end, we saved the food for us because that was our payoff.
Yeah, that was your pay, basically.
And give to our families extra portion, and that was big deal that time.
You were a leader. You were a superhero, basically.
So, yeah.
And you didn't want to wait. You didn't want to wait. You wanted to take action. So
and that's awesome, because that's what a leader does. A leader, an entrepreneur, they don't sit around and wait for things to happen. They go make it happen. And maybe it was because of your upbringing, because you basically at a very young age were forced to, you had to figure it out, So a lot of times people look at the bad things that happen and they look at it as like, woe is me. The bad things that happened to you, or not, I don't want to say the bad, the adversity that you went through actually made you stronger. It made you a leader. It made you independent. It made you be able to overcome everything. And in essence, like, I've learned through my life that as soon as you set an intention and you start going after it, the universe will start to open up the doors for you to go after what you wanted. So because you were putting in the work, because you never sat back, because when you were in the concentration camp and you said, I'm not just going to sit here and wait, I'm going to go up to the cook, and he's like, wow, who's this person? Like, the universe said, okay, you're the one that's going to get picked. You're the one that's going to go to the United States. Because you put in the work, and you took advantage of that opportunity. So that's amazing, right? And so I give you a lot of credit for that. And I hope you realize that. Like, I hope you understand that you did something very powerful and very special, and you should be very proud of yourself for doing that.
And also, I think the love that you have for your family is everything. That's like your biggest motivation and inspiration.
Thank you. I don't think about myself, like, I just think that's my life, and you just have to pick up from the pieces. I told my kids how many times I drop down, fall down, I pick up myself and keep going. And the thing is, I just realized I never see on what was past.
Okay.
I always look for the future. I always look what is on the front of me and where the door's opening and where I can go. Mostly like introducing myself to the people and see if I can get some help or some things, like you have suggestion, and I will maybe go for it. Or I have, like, mostly my kids say, Mom, you have in your head, and whatever you decide, you go do it. Even you hit the wall, but you go doing it. So it's just basically my creation and my mind working what is next and what is the best and what to do. So backing in the war, my father-in-law was in men's prison, and I was the only woman save my ex-father-in-law or my father-in-law life. He not been killed, and he lived another 27 years.
Wow.
His life, because what happened, he was in men's prison next to the convention camp for the women, and he was age 60 something, and I lied that he was 65. And I went over there and say, why you capture him? He can go with us. So whoever was main operator of the convention camp, he was a scary guy, but I run to him and say, well, I wanted my father, I told him that's my father, to go with me, and because he needs, not to be there because he's so old. And I pick up my father, and he said, okay. Wow. And I pick up my father-in-law to take him to that house that we was next to convention. My father-in-law almost has heart attack, and say, because the army was already having the guns to shoot us. Wow. Because we are moving. We're supposed to not move. We have to be on command. And I bring him in that house, and I told him, the boss say, go ask boss. And he was saying, let them go. I approve it. So I bring my father-in-law and in the house with us. And then we went to the Priador. We stayed there, my father-in-law and my side, and my mother-in-law and my son. We was there. And then, like, I heard for this, I was actually leader. And I heard for this convoy, the bosses, the transferring to the part of the Muslim country, and either you with torture. Because one night, 8 army guys, not 8 people, 8 army guys, surrendered and know that we was from Kozarets, and wanna found if it's any younger, where's my husband? Did he's maybe shooting on them, or what he's doing, or he's in prison? They wanna find out what we doing here, why we escaped, and what is in our lives. They want to control us. Let's go put up this way. So I told so that night was my life and death. Either I'm going to be taken away and be tortured, or I am going to escape the next day and float away. So that's the give me some kind of sign, and I say I'm not waiting the next night. So I went to the convoy and flew to the Muslim country, Muslim territory, in the middle of the Bosnia.
Wow.
And that's where I escaped the Prijedor and Kozarac and all those things. And when we came to the bus, the army say, no men's, just only women's and children. And I say, no, I wanted my father to be with me. And I'm fighting with him on the front, and he's holding me like either shoot me or you cannot speak to them. You have to be the other. But I don't want to let my father go with the man's bus because he will get killed, or who knows what they do. So he put my father-in-law and the boss with the woman. He finally give up. He cannot fight with me and say, get in.
Wow.
So we was get in, and we was piled 3-4 buses of the women's and children, and couple of the buses of the men's, which was captured in the camp. So then we was coming to the mountains, and I heard the old 2 buses man behind us was killed.
The whole bus.
Yeah.
Wow.
So you definitely had
So-
the gut feeling and you followed through that.
So my father-in-law was only survived the mail in that convoy.
And that's
Right.
because of
the
you.
only one. Wow.
And we were on everybody. So they have the massacre graves, which even today, some of the bodies, some of the boys, some of the men, some of the relatives that was there is not be found, maybe just pieces.
Wow. So you are brave. You stood up. You basically risked your own life to save your father-in-law's life.
Exactly.
How come you weren't afraid at the time?
I think on that time it was life or death,
Okay.
and whatever. What else can shoot me?
Yeah.
But I think in my mind was they're not knowing why they're doing this.
Yeah.
We don't know what's happening. We don't know what their interest was. So we was mixed emotion. I think there are two mixed emotion, because some things can slip, but some things it's very strict, and some horrible things happen, like abuse, torture, killing, also sexual abuses.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of bad things happen, but on that bad things, some people can say, okay.
Yeah. You understood that maybe even some of them probably were confused, or they felt like they didn't know what they were doing. Like they probably didn't want to do it, but they had to.
I think that's the most part, because it's a lot of people that we know they have to put the uniform and to save their own lives because they are mixed marriage,
Yeah.
and to save their own kids, and they don't want to do that, but they have to.
Yeah.
They have an order to do it.
Yeah, and the movie is so the soldier's in love with the captive woman, and there's a scene where she says, I don't you think I want to be doing this? Like, because his father was a general, right? So he's like, do you think I like to kill people I went to school with, I grew up with, but you kind of had to. But it's just amazing. And, you're such a humble leader. You're such a courageous person that you don't even give yourself the credit that, because when it comes to that type of situation, it's either fight or flight. But you chose to fight. And because you chose to fight, your father-in-law stayed alive for 25 more years. You and your family at the time came to the United States. Your kids are now grown up and having their own kids. So there's generations that are going to continue and grow because you were courageous and you chose to fight.
I think so. Backing in here, life it was not easy.
Of course.
Like coming to United States, even the people who live here, they not can know how to pick the life and accomplished. When I has my kids and I ask my oldest son what he want to do. He was 14 years old, 13 or 14. He already know that he want to be on computer.
Okay.
And he
chose a good industry for the Bay Area.
And then my youngest one was always in cars, so I know that he will be with the cars.
Yeah.
So then when my mother and father died, my mother died from cancer in 2007.
Wow.
My father died 2008. My mom has my sister year before I have my youngest son.
Oh, wow.
So my mom was pregnant with my fourth child. So what end up, and this my whole life, I end up adopting my own sister. And she was 11 when my mom passed away, 12 when my dad passed away. When my mom died, I asked my dad to issue the visa because I was American citizen to bring my sister over here to leave her so I can either start adoption or something because I want to bring that child to give her the future. So my father I applied and he got the visa issue and 2 days later he has a heart attack.
Oh my gosh.
So this is the child with no I'm the orphan. In 14 months on 15 months, I lost my father and my mother. My mother from lung cancer, my father from heart attack. And there was the child, to my brothers and my sister. And I told my brothers, can you just because the state want to take my sister. And I say, take the temporary custody. And I will review the whole papers and we'll go for international adoption because she was minor. So I start doing that and I adopt my sister. Took me a couple of years to process and hold translation of the papers. So my sister came here. So I was having my two boys and my sister to raise together. Wow. So my sister she went to nursing school. She's working for Kaiser Hospital and she has her own child.
Wow.
So I have a nephew, 2 years old.
That's amazing.
And she lives her own life and have a good job in education and pursuing in the medical history. My oldest son, he works for Tesla. Wow. And my youngest is manager, operation manager in one of the auto shops, or how I say, dealer shops.
Yeah.
Dealerships.
And doing what he loves,
dealerships.
working with cars.
Yes.
Right. And that's what we're about. We're about people who are living their purpose and doing what they love. And, I don't even know what to say because you're such an amazing human being. Like, I literally feel like the movie is you. Like, I mean, I didn't watch the whole movie, but I think, I don't know how it ends up with that movie, but the character, the premise, how it started, it's you, it's your story, except you have a very happy ending. Like, you're here, you're in the United States, you have a thriving business that I wouldn't say you fell into it. I would say you attracted it because you were looking for more. You were looking for better. Ever since you were young, you were groomed to be a caretaker. Just like when you got thrown into the kitchen role. It was kind of like with your grandmother when she was training you when you were 9 to take care of your brothers, the kitchen role and all that. That was your first job in the United States. But then you realized, I want better. I want more. So then the universe said, all right, I'm going to start putting all the people in your way. And you took advantage of it. And I love how you say, I always look forward. I never look back. You know what I mean?
Never.
And now you have a very successful business. Are you still in Oakland?
I live in Martinez.
Martinez. Oh, Martinez is a very, very nice area.
Yeah.
So you must be doing pretty well. I mean, Martinez is not a cheap area to live in. So you're successful?
I bought my house 2 years ago.
Congratulations.
Wow, congratulations.
This is not the first in America. This is the third house.
The third house. So you have 3 homes now, right?
No, I have my first home, I was starting doing my business, and 2 years of my business, I purchased my first home in Oakland.
How old were you when you purchased your first home?
I must be 28,
28 years old.
28.
Wow.
With 2 kids, barely picking the pieces and working. And I saved for my down payment. I bought the house with my husband that time. He was good father, he was good dad and everything, but he cannot keep up the job.
Yeah.
And also when I say go to school, learn English, he was like, oh, I don't need.
He didn't want more. He didn't want to try.
He was there and he was leading me, but did he wants to go and do something? He was low key.
Yeah.
And I bought that house, and in 2 years living in that house, the neighbor changed, and it was around the Oakland Zoo, which was also Oakland, and it's part on the board of the East Oakland in North Oakland. So it was neighborhoods start changing, and one night it was bullets flying around my house, and the police knock on my door and say, are you okay? And I say, why? He say, but I heard gunshots, but I don't know that was happening actually right under my front door almost. And the bullet was in my windows and my living rooms. And he said, did you kids okay? And I run upstairs, and my 2 children sleeping, and everybody's okay. And I told my husband, this is not what I want to be here anymore, because it's not safe.
Yeah.
So I end up buying a second home and moved to Pinole and renting that house to somebody else. And then, you know how market goes up and down. So
that was the whole 2000s when the houses were just going up like crazy.
Yeah, was 2004 when I bought that. 2007, I ended up buying in Pinole 3 years later. And 2009, when the market hit, I was renting it, but then I cannot keep up. So then I sold that first house, end up keeping the one in Pinole. My kids get better education, graduate from high school in Pinole. And that time I adopt my sister, I was having bigger place. Whole thing puzzling. I need bigger place for adoption too. And when that in 2011, actually 10, our marriage start, fading and falling down. And my ex-husband was like, I was telling him, doesn't work. And 2012, I picked myself and left.
Wow.
Left him the house, left him everything, start from scratch.
Wow. And that again too, that takes a courage. You've always had this story of starting over and courage. For you, that was nothing. You're like, if I went through what I went through over there, this is like nothing.
Yeah.
This is like, and a lot of people, they don't want to go through hard times, but they don't realize that that's what makes you strong.
Okay.
Yeah. And so you picked up and then you bought a house in Martinez?
No, I went and rent the place because when I left, I just don't know where to go. I went to hotel.
Okay.
And I was in a hotel, and then I looked for the place, and my husband that time, he was saying that's his house because we was married, and I say, you can have it. I just want a freedom.
Yeah.
So I went and rented, and I was renting it, and my kids and my daughter-in-law and my son and my sister all moved in with me in the renting place.
There you go.
So my husband that time, he cannot keep up because he, with the mortgage and everything. So that house went foreclosure.
Yeah.
And I lost it. And then I was renting it for like maybe 4-6 years. And I told my kids, paying the rent for us for the house, it's a lot. And I say, you know what? I'm going to hit the wall again and buy something. So I was looking and founding the house, and I bought it. when I came home and I say I made it, my kids almost say, Mom, you are the stronger or not
Yeah.
anybody else, because there was, you know, making the things with the market and accomplishing everything. It's so hard for the people who have something, and I lost everything.
Yeah.
You have to understand, when I left my husband, I lost. It was big loss. It was
Yeah.
big flip.
Yeah. You know, but what you didn't lose is you didn't lose your courage.
No.
You didn't lose your strength. You didn't lose your look forward attitude. And they always say people that are successful, they're successful because of how they think, not what they have. That's why successful people will lose everything and then get it right back and maybe even be better. So, you know, your whole life has been basically a lesson of how to be tough, how to be a leader, how to have courage, how to overcome. So almost, I mean, I believe that nothing can stop you. Like nothing can stop you literally, because what else, you're on the brink of basically losing your life, and that couldn't even stop you. So what else is going to stop you, right?
I don't know. Like I say, I always look forward, not on whatever the back. So I don't know what is forward for me, but I'm keep going. And I told my kids, the longer I'm perk, I will go.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm doing. So back on the after the war, we rebuilt the house and the property where we grew up. And when I divorced my ex-husband, I told him, you can have everything. I told the court, my ex-husband can have everything. I don't want anything. I just want that piece of paper. So the day after I divorced him, I went and buy condo in my country.
Nice.
You're like, I'm looking forward, right? Yeah.
And the house that was his family house, I cannot go back there. My country house, my brothers live, so I don't want a part of anything. I just want on my own.
Mm.
So I bought my condo. So I own the condo in my country and own the house in here.
Wow.
Congratulations.
That's
it's
amazing.
a big deal.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you're a successful entrepreneur now. Are you looking for clients? Are you always looking for more clients?
I never look for clients.
Never? They just come to you?
They left and right. I can work 24/7 if I could.
Yeah.
But no, people know my name and know my ability, what I can do, and how I'm doing. And also recommendation, and it goes by the mouth, by the word.
Word of mouth.
But also I have director social workers that know me, and going from Alameda to part of the Oakland, maybe even further, I don't know, Castro Valley, or every facility where this director works and met me, they go changing, the places, but they keep
sending you people,
entering in the same people, and so that's how I.
So you've already built the reputation, basically.
Yes,
a good one, and I mean, and you're successful. So you literally came here to give your children a better life.
Exactly.
You stood in the face of death to save your family. In the end, it was probably to give your children a better life. And now you've actually done that. Your kids have a good life. They're in the United States of America. Regardless of what you believe right now, or whether you like what's going on or not, this is still the freest country in the world. You still can do whatever you want to do. Exactly. And you're doing it, and you took advantage of it. And for that, I commend you. Like, you're an amazing human being. I'm so glad that you're recommended to us. Anything else that you want to say to the people out there before we wrap it up?
I just say, everything is possible. Mm-hmm. If somebody tell me that's possible, that I came in United States and be my own self-employee or own my own business, let's go call this, because I know work for companies. I know I work from beginning. Yes, I did for like almost a year, but being accomplished, everything's possible, because the world, the way you think the way you want to go. And when I came here, I have one road. I mean, I have more, but one road to accomplish, to get someplace and then see where it goes. And that's where I did it, and that's where I am. But also a lot of people say, oh, I'm not good with that. I'm not good with that. Sometimes you're good with the, like, I don't know that I will be good with this kind of job, but because I think I have this caring from beginning, I end up loving my job, and I end up love that I help people. And old people is the little things make them happy, but they are desperate for help.
Yeah.
And when you give them that help, one thing I say in my life, every time I help somebody, of course you work for money. Of course you have to pay your own bills. But every single time I heard God bless you, that's my blessed.
Yeah.
That's what I need, and that's what we all need. That I say 10 times a day, I help, even it's not my client, they need help, and I go and help them and say, they not pay me because I volunteering, but they say, God bless you, but that's a pay.
Yes.
That's a
love that.
pay.
That's the fulfillment you
That's
get.
the fulfillment,
Yeah,
yes.
and that's worth anything.
That's worth, and that's not worth the money. And I think on that, hearing that over all these years, and since I was little girl, God, my grandma always will say, oh, I'm not worried for you. You will have anything. Don't even know what you have. And that time, I don't even know what that mean, but now I know.
Wow,
Yeah,
that's
you're definitely blessed.
I'm
for
so
sure.
glad you said that, because they say that your programming is from age 0 to 7. That's where your subconscious is programmed. And almost every single successful person had an example of success, or they had somebody that was constantly telling them they're going to be great no matter what you do. So, I mean, wow, like your grandmother basically prepared you to become successful. She made you realize that anything is possible for you, and your future is going to be great. That's amazing.
Not only my grandmother. My grandmother was. I have to tell you, when my mom has me and 2 brothers, they separate and build a house next to them. I was feeling sorry for my grandma. I never leave her side. So basically, but my mother, when I was age 16. And my mother will tell me, oh, I no worry for you. And I'm like, Mom, I'm your child. How come? She was always worried, about the other 2, not me. And I said, but I'm your child. How come you no worry? And she was like, you know what you're doing, even your young age. You know what you're doing. And my mother was dying. And she was saying to me, I only wish I know I'm dying, but only one request before I die. You have to promise me. And I say, Mom, you told me already, worry about me. Now you want a request. She said, I want only one. It's my wish. And it's only short time, because she was really battle of the cancer for months. And she say, the sister that you have, if you promise me that you're going to take her and inspire her and push her the way I will be easy to go on heaven for me to leave this world, to check out. And I have to promise her.
Oh, that.
And I accomplished that promise. I brought my sister. I give her life. And she's now also a successful woman. She has her own family, and she works.
Wow.
And she's going to be in a year RN.
Wow.
So
That's amazing.
and she already have a step in medical field, because she works for 3-4 years for Kaiser.
Wow.
So
You should be very proud of yourself. You've done a lot. I mean, it's not over for you. You still got a long way to go.
I think
But what you've accomplished so far is amazing. You've done more than some people that were even born in this country will do. You know what I
Agree.
mean? And I'm so glad that we had you here. I know why you were recommended. And you're exactly what this podcast is about. Like you're pursuing your passion. You love to help people. You love to inspire. You love to save people's lives, literally and figuratively. You've been saving people's lives your whole entire life, and you've been taking care of people your whole entire life. And you're now reaping the benefits, just seeing your kids become successful, seeing your sister become successful. And I can't wait to see more of what's going to happen, and how many more people you're going to impact, and how many more people you're going to touch. And I hope that millions of people see this podcast and they see how awesome you are, and that they get inspired too, because that's the goal of what we want to do here. But thank you. Joe, do you have any final thoughts?
I have the 6 questions.
Okay, so we always have the
Thank
special
you.
little thing that we
Before
like
we
to
wrap
wrap it up. There's
Sure.
this called Joe's 6 questions.
Yeah.
But again, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. This was amazing.
Thank you God, for having me.
Yeah,
pleasure.
and Joe's gonna ask her 6 questions, and then we'll go ahead and wrap it up. And so go ahead. It's all
You know,
yours.
honestly, like as I listened to you and your story, a lot more questions actually popped up. You know, so one of the questions is, you know, what advice would you give to someone who's basically struggling to discover their purpose in life?
Like I say earlier, everything's possible. Just think what you're good and capable to doing, what is coming to your mind, and what you have strong skills. I told my kids, it's up to you. I will support you, whatever you do. And that's, I think, for the people, if they have a support, it's easy. But if they don't have support, maybe look for support. Look for something that somebody can help you or give you advice. Like from my own view, I was desperate to look for help for that kind of, and also remember in my country back, say the tree has a branches, grab whatever you can't, and maybe one of the branches will hold you, but maybe someone will break it and you fall on the ground, but you have to keep doing it to you not stay holding on one of them. That will be you accomplished, or that will be you success. You have to, correct. Correct. Don't give up. Yes. Yes.
What advice would you give to all the refugees all over the world during this time?
I feel, their pain, and don't give up. Longer you have your head on the shoulders, everything's miracle and possible, or everything, doors can be open for you. I always, my expression is, when I was doing the hold this war and convention camp and hold this torturing stuff, I say, longer I have my head on my shoulders, I think that's what keep me going, and I have something to think, what is the next. So for the refugee right now, it's just use your judgment, use your guts, use your strength, how much you have in there, because you have to, I understand sometimes you give up and you don't have that kind of energy anymore, because everything around you, it's dark, but after dark comes light.
After
That's
dark
powerful.
comes light. It's beautiful.
Whew, got the chills.
Thank you. You mentioned before when you came to San Francisco, you felt totally lost, right? So
Correct.
there's always immigrants coming in here. Like, what advice would you give them when they're lost?
Just like in myself, I'm going from my point of view. I was lost because coming to the bigger city, not lost in my what I want to do and how I want to start my life. I was lost just where to pick the pieces, how to go. I think it just to think on that moment what to start, where to go. Maybe go where is feeling you the comfortable, that you feel in the comfortable environment, and then start thinking from there, which makes, for my experience, it was the city. I'm not city. I'm country. I even think if I go to Napa, I will be maybe better success right now. But how I know that time, right? So you just have to think what is the environment that you can pick to lift you and start doing it. Like I was thinking the smaller city, the different environment, it will be better for me. It's not the bigger city. So it's just you have to decide on that time where you want to be, what you want to do, how you want to do it, and what you can't do. So I just, from my point of view, it was like start from one day on the time.
One day at a time. Gotcha. I know that since you work so hard, I mean, there are a lot of, single mothers or mothers out there working so hard. What are some of the things that you do to basically have like some self-care practices, like at the end of the night, or, basically recharge your batteries? Do you do any of that?
I don't think that I think that way. Because my kids say that I have more energy or 20 years old. I don't know how. But it just, my mind keep going. It just, I have to do it. And I put myself, it was moments when I worked for 16, 18 hours a day. And my kids was little. And I will come or leave early in the morning, come late in the night. But as soon as I came, I will go to my kids' room and talk to them. And his dad will say, what are you talking to them for an hour? And I say, but if one thing stay in their brain, they will be good on this world. So I was spending the time like that with them, because I would not have be time to be mom and stay with home mom. So I was spending the time talking to them and tell them how the life is here and how I work hard and this is what I have to do. And also tell them that if you work hard, you've been accomplished something. So that's was goal, and I did it. I still work hard. I still been gone. But my joy was when I come home, I have my home. I have my 2 kids and now grandkids, and then extra my 2 kids, then my 3 kids, then my now my 2 grandchildren. Even I don't have so much time to spend with my kids when they grow up, to my grandkids right now. But I think they have the vibe of me, how I am, and when I'm going to garden, my grandchildren came and shuffle with me. So they're picking up like, grandma doing this, we can doing this. Or my kids, when they was young, whatever I do, they come and they want to learn. So I think, and also they are hard workers too, like me. I think they realize that the hard work is paid off.
Yeah, and I want to say something, because a lot of times parents think they have to spend all kinds of time with their kids, but most of the time they waste time. They watch TV. They're not present with their kids. You didn't spend a lot of time because you were busy, but the time you spent with them was probably more quality than hours that other parents spend with their kids. And you were mentoring them. And not only that, it was the example.
Right.
Kids don't do what you say. They do what you do. And they all saw your example your whole life, and that's what they followed.
I have to say that I heard this over and over for my friends and the people that I met here, the people that never know me. And we met here in refugee. And there's the community down in San Jose of Bosnians. And they say, look at my kids and look at my whole life. They say, if I can give sample to my kids like that you raise your kids and working that hard and give them the life they have and the respect they have for people and they are social. And you have to understand that my kids doesn't have a family here growing up. So wherever I was going, I was carrying my kids with me. Yeah. I go, if I have my client and I have to drive him someplace, I put my kids in the car and drove. And I remember one time I have an Alzheimer's man who was memory loss, and he turned around and he asked me, where you pick up these kids? And I said, they're mine. I've been driving with me. And I give them also the some kind of picture what I do and how I do, and also that was the time that we spent together
Yeah.
too,
Mhm.
and that's basically, I think that I did best I could. Like I say, I told my kids, Mom has to go to work because when you ask for something, I will give it to you. That's why I'm working hard. I explain my kids also from beginning, when even they're little. I said, remember we came here, you don't have a chocolate, you don't have a shoes, you don't have nothing. Now Mom has to go work hard, but you have to also work hard. You have to school, you have to go to school, be good study. And I say, whatever you ask me to do, I will buy for you because I have money, but also I want to accomplish from you. So it was always giving, taking.
Give and take, yeah. So they can
And-
earn it.
And
right?
they earn it. And that's what my kids was growing up with. And there was good students, there was good kids. I never have problems. And like I said, they accomplished in their lives. And I think watching me and backing on my community, they always say, I raise my head off of my head and come to you and say, good job.
That's
Good
awesome.
job.
So you have the respect of your community as well.
Yes.
That's
yes,
amazing.
Because, like I say, I go to visit my friends. I will take my kids. Even to today, I have my friends coming visit me. My both son, which is sitting with my friends and visit.
Yeah.
And they say, you cannot find 18, 16, 25, 32 visiting with mother and going with mother wherever mother goes.
That's very rare.
And
Yeah.
that's not. And my kids, if they have us, their friends, they ask me to join them. They say, oh, my mom's funny. Come on, bring my mom. So that's how they are. We have a bond. And my family, that we just like, doesn't matter if we visit age 80 or 20 or 15, we just all, they're not growing up like, oh, I don't want to hang with you because you're too old. My kids hang with, even my grandkids now. My 7 years old grandson, he's sitting with adults and picking up what we're talking. And I said, that's exactly generation not changing, because my kids was 7 years old when they're visiting with all adults, because I don't have a place to leave my kids. I have to bring them wherever I go. So I go visit my friends, 6 adults, 2 kids. They're sitting with adults. And now my grandkids sitting with adults.
It's example. Like, I mean, you showed them the whatever it takes mentality. You taught them how to be socialized at a very young age, because I mean they had to.
Right.
So they learned social skills at a very young age with adults and all these people. So now they
Right.
can probably talk to anybody.
Right.
Right? That's awesome.
Right. It's when I take my grandson when he was little to my clients and to visit with me, they say, bring your grandson. And he say hi to everybody. He was so comfortable, like he know them forever. And they say, we never see 4 or 5 years old age that he's talking like that. But that's because we introduce him. And like I say, they hang with the adults or older people in a young age. That's how my kids was. That's how my grandkids. And that's how I give them, open the world. It's not that you have to hang out with your only friends and think that's the only people.
Yeah.
You can be any generation and feel yourself and be social, and I think learn more. I think it's learning too through the, be younger, to be with old people. If you learn something, they will be good for you.
Yeah, I have all kinds of friends, adults, younger, my age. I think that's a good way to learn about the world as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, speaking about kids, if you were a child again, like, what do you think you would be doing? What are some of the favorite things you would like to do if you were a kid again?
I really don't know on that answer, because I never thought about what I can do. I maybe will do same thing. because I miss my childhood growing up and play with my generation.
Right.
But then on the other thing is I grew up and be adult from being a kid and being adult and being responsible. And I think that part I skip, and I don't think I can say if I go back what I will be do, because I think that was wiped from me.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I will do same over. Because that's, I think, the
You would
person I
still
was.
be a provider,
Yes.
like at an early age,
Yes.
basically,
Yes.
serving your family, other people.
Yes, because I don't know nothing other, because I'm still, my mother and father I was their responsibility. I was their statue. My two brothers live back home, but they lean on me, hold my family. So I'm their statue. I'm their whatever decision, whatever I am deciding, because they always ask me advice. They always ask me what you think is, what is good, what is bad. They not do anything without me. And I tell them I'm looking like a continue mother, because I was, raising them from the young and then my kids, and then I'm still with my brothers and my whole family, just giving advice, and I think main leader. And even in my own family and my kids and my household, everything's like, my nickname is Julia Blondie. Julia, nobody called me mom in my house. Nobody called me Nana. The grandkids call me Nana. But my kids, barely one of the blue moon say mom or mama. They say Julia. And I have nicknames since I was, I don't know, maybe young age. That's calling Blondie in my country. And my ex-husband or my husband was always calling me Julia. And my kids pick up, and my brothers and my whole family, even my daughter-in-law, she called me same nickname. So every time something's going on, they all come, Julia, what next? And they all ask for advice.
What does Julia mean?
Blondie.
Blondie. Oh, okay. So, but you're like the matriarch of the family.
I think I am.
That's awesome.
I have one last question.
Okay.
So let's say, like, at the end of your life, right? What do you think will be your, like, most biggest, proudest moment that you've done in your life?
There's a couple of them, but the biggest one is coming here and take that big step to just leave everybody behind me. I have to understand I left everything and just my family. And that was the big decision. But like I say, either break it or make it. So I made it.
Thank you. Yeah, you definitely made it.
Well, you definitely made it. You definitely made this an amazing experience. I'm extremely grateful. I know we all are here to have you. Your story needs to be heard, and I know millions of people are going to hear this. They might make a movie about you. I think one
Blondie.
day. Yeah,
The title
Julia.
would be
Julia. Yeah,
Julia.
right.
Mhm.
But yeah, so thank you so much for being here. Once again, thank you guys for tuning in. We'll leave everything in the descriptions below. And that's what you're going to get here on the Bliss Seekers podcast. Amazing people, amazing stories. And, as always, in the end, follow your bliss.